You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffens, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. I'm excited today to have Dalton Harum on the show. Dalton, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm pumped to be here.
It's fun to always sit down and record these things and get to learn about people. So tell me a little bit about like where you grew up, what you're doing for work, and everything you got going on over there. Let's start there.
Yeah, I grew up in a town called Wenatchee, Washington. It's in central Washington. Lived there until I graduated high school, and then I played college baseball, so I moved around quite a bit through college. Moved out to Virginia, and then COVID happened. I got a fifth year of eligibility at Lewis Clark State College in Lewiston, Idaho, and then moved down here to Kuna, Idaho after college, and that's where I'm at now.
Right on.
Yeah.
So baseball, tell me a little bit about that because, I tore my rotator cuff at my sophomore tryouts and ended whatever career I may have had. I felt like I was a pretty good ball player, but when you tear the old rotator cuff, that kind of shuts things down for you.
Yeah.
But what position did you play?
I played mostly center field.
Okay, so you're fast.
I was. And college, I mostly center field. I played a little first base, a little left and right field. I was actually more of a pitcher in high school. But yeah.
Nice. Well, center field, you got to be fast, and you got to have a cannon and get the ball in. So,
yeah.
But what was that college experience like playing ball? Like, did you love it? Do you miss it? Like, how long have you been out of college now? I mean, not too long.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed my experience in college. I'm grateful that it happened. I was always way more of a hunter than I was a baseball player, so I was ready for that to be done. But I enjoyed traveling. I got to see a lot of the country doing it. I enjoyed my teammates. That's probably the only thing I really miss about it is the locker rooms and all the teammates that I had and the memories I made and experiences I was able to have in places that I wouldn't have been if I wasn't playing baseball.
All right, guys, Bison King is here, and this is the jerky I built because I was sick of weak, low-protein snacks that don't keep up with the way we live. It's 100% American bison, cleaner, leaner, higher in protein than beef. It just hits different. Whether I'm in the mountains, hitting a workout, grinding in the office, or ripping around town, this is my go-to snack. You have 3 flavors to choose from. First is the teriyaki. It's tender, insanely good, and a fast fan favorite. Our peppered is bold, packed with a kick, and comes with 80 grams of protein in each bag. Finally, there's the bison and salt, just 2 ingredients, pure flavor and 90 grams of protein per bag. This is everyday performance food. Throw it in your pack for a hunt, keep it in your truck, grab it after the gym, or take it into work. Bison King is built for people who move, push, train, hustle, and don't slow down. So if you're ready to level up your protein game, rule the wild with Bison King. Visit bisonking.com and use code STEALTH to save 10% on your first order. That's bisonking.com. So tell me about your transition then. Once you landed in, tell me, where in Idaho again?
So I live in Nampa now. It's just out. Nampa. It's like 15 minutes outside of Boise.
Yeah, nice. You're kind of like up on Nampa. Isn't that kind of like northwest of Boise?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. And so tell me, like, how did everything go for you as far as transitioning to hunting, and what are you up to now?
So I never really, I've always hunted a ton, even through college and everything. I just have a lot more free time to do it now when I'm not playing baseball. So yeah, got out of college. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. Bounced around a couple of different jobs. Did a little bit of construction, a little bit of landscaping, some electrical stuff. And then settled on wanting to become a firefighter. So started applying and got lucky and got picked up pretty quick down here in Boise, which is my dream department. And so now I'm a fireman for the city of Boise.
That's awesome. Thanks for keeping everybody safe up there.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, as a youth, like, what's the first hunt that you remember going out on that like made you fall in love with hunting?
And there's a ton. My first deer was a special experience for me, but probably the best experience was my first big game animal was a bear. Um, I went out with my dad. He was archery hunting, and I brought my rifle because bear season was open, and we had a big old bear. I actually got it on my wall over there. Walk out on the road 30 yards ahead of us when we were going to make a stalk on this buck, and I shot it. Ended up having to shoot it a couple times with a 243, but yeah, super that adrenaline rush. That was the first time I experienced anything like that. And when you're 8 years old and you got a bear, 30 yards away, it's a memorable experience. And I think that's what got me hooked.
Yeah, that would do it to you. Have you how many more times you've been out hunting bear? I mean, was that like once, or is that like, do you enjoy hunting bear?
I did. Yeah, all throughout high school and stuff, I was pretty into it. Back then I just did everything and anything I could to get out in the woods. So it didn't matter what animal it was. If there was a season open, I was going.
Right on.
So I went, I killed a handful of bears. Got pretty into it for a couple of years. I don't do it as much anymore, but I'll shoot them when I see them, but I don't really go out and spend too much time doing it. But yeah, I enjoyed
one of those
hunting.
like you buy the tag, stick it in your back pocket. If you come across one, you'll.
Yeah. I shot one last year, taking my wife deer hunting. But I don't spend a ton of time doing it. Yeah.
Did your wife grow up hunting?
She never did. No. Last year was her first year ever hunting, and first time ever shooting a rifle, all that stuff. So
that's fun.
Yeah, brand new to her.
Does she enjoy it?
She does. Yeah. She starting to develop a passion for it and get super into it. So that's been fun. So now we both have really expensive hobbies, but yeah.
Well, it's good. I mean, I can't think of a better hunting buddy than to go out with your wife.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier when it's like, hey, I'm going to take off for 4 days. It's like, let's pack up and go.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing is now she can kind of understand everything I do and why I'm so into it, and the time I take off from work to do it and all the stuff and the sacrifices I make to do it. She can understand it better now that she's into it as well.
That's cool. So tell me, what hunts have you been out on this year?
This year I did pretty much all Idaho this year. We have a newborn, so not a newborn now, he's a year and a half. So I didn't venture too far, but I did get a second deer and a second elk tag in Idaho, so I was able to go on quite a few hunts. In August I started out hunting mule deer with a bow, killed a buck, and then went right into archery elk. Killed a bull like mid-September, and then I helped some buddies elk hunt the rest of the month, and then took my wife out for opening day of rifle deer. She got a buck, and then I went on my kind of a combo rifle, elk, and deer at the same time in October, middle of October. Did that and ended up passing on quite a few bulls and killed a deer, and then finished up by taking my wife out elk hunt. So went on quite a few hunts, but all pretty local in Idaho. So
yeah, sometimes at night it's nice not to have to go too far.
Yeah.
So Dalton, tell me, you said one of the things that you said, when you were able to take your wife out, she kind of understands like the passion and sacrifice. For somebody that is new to hunting, and that maybe or their husband's new to hunting, what explain like what that passion, the sacrifice that it takes to be able to go out and hunt. Because I mean, if you look at Instagram, it's like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you just go buy a bow and you go out and you go shoot something, and then you take the the obligatory photo with the deer or elk or whatever animal it is that you've taken. But explain, like, how would you explain to somebody like what goes into that? I mean, because like you did, like you said, like we went out, we shot a deer, shot a buck, like no big deal. But it's not. I mean, to me, it's not as easy as just like going out there and find one and tracking it down. I mean, there's a learning curve that you have to go through, and it's a grind to get out there to get on these animals, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I started out as super fortunate with people that I was surrounded by, that kind of got me into the hunting that I'm into now. But it's a huge sacrifice, especially nowadays. Hunting is it's an expensive thing, man. Like getting tags is one thing, but all the gear you need for all the different hunts, um, I pretty much nerd out on it year round. Um, if you were to ask my wife, like that's the one thing that makes me whole, and she's accepting of that. Uh, but it's a lot of sacrifice, right? Like financially, time away from the family time's a huge thing because, like a lot of people, like I have a full-time job and you only get so much time off, and uh, you're sacrificing that time away from your family by going out and hunting and doing these things. So I'm fortunate now that my wife and my son get to go on some stuff with me. And so that's kind of lessened that gap a little bit. But yeah, to the new person starting out, it seems really easy to look at Instagram and see all these big things getting shot and all this stuff, or hear people say like, "Oh yeah, we went out and shot one opening day or whatever, and then we went and shot an elk." But that's years and years of hunting and being like this is my purpose in life, is to hunt and to do these things, and it's just like 365 days a year I think about it. Um, and I've been, I killed my first deer in 2006, so I guess that's 19 years of solely like hunting has been my purpose. So I've learned a lot, and there's that huge learning curve where it takes a long time to figure out how to be effective and how to maximize your time and how to kill stuff, especially on general over the counter tags. Uh, it was a huge learning process, and that's a huge sacrifice, especially with people with a family or just economically. The times we live in, things are expensive. So that's a sacrifice too, even if you're single with no family.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I'm looking at some of the photos that you posted on social. Like you've taken, I mean, you can see it clearly if you're watching this, you can see the studs that you've taken. I mean, this isn't just like rookie stuff. Like you're out there getting some I mean, nice bulls and bucks put down. Like let me see if I can, let me try this here. In a second. Okay. So like this brute here, I've just pulled up on the screen. I
Hmm.
mean, this thing is a stud. Tell me about this hunt. Like, how did it go down? I mean, obviously it was archery. I can see your bow there. How did this whole thing play out?
Yeah, that's just a fluke deal there. That buck is in probably the most hunted unit in Idaho. Um, it's open for a late archery season, and I did not fill my deer tag during rifle season last year. So I went out on that, and I actually took my wife out elk hunting in that spot like 2 weeks before that. And I'd seen like a smaller 4 point that I was going to go after. Went up there, and the migration was happening, the rut was happening, and there was different deer coming through that area every day. So yeah, I spotted that one, and this country's tough to hunt. And this is where the experience part comes into it, especially bow hunting. Red and mule deer, it's a difficult thing. Um, but I've gotten quite a bit of reps at it over the years. So that buck, spotted him like midday and made a play on him, but it's super steep, tough country, and it's pretty open, so it's really tough to get close, especially when they're with a bunch of does. Um, that guy, I call it kind of the red zone. What I'll do in a situation like that is I stalked in, I got as close as I could, and then I keep the wind right and hang out there. And that's for me when good things happen when you're in that red zone, which is like, 200 yards and in. I couldn't get any closer than 180, I think, on him. And then I just hung out there for like 2, 3 hours, hoping that maybe they would feed my direction or he would push the does my direction. And what ended up happening is another hunter came around the backside of him and tried to stalk in on him through the wide open. Uh, Stalked in on him through the wide open. They busted him, and mule deer in the rut. Uh, they didn't bust too much, but they came my direction, and that buck just picked up right where he left off, chasing does, and yeah, the does fed right up the trail in front of me, 80 yards, and he was short behind him, and I was able to get him killed. But
That's awesome.
yeah, that's one of those things that, I can't say that was totally skill or just because I'm good. That just was a lot of luck and just
Well, I
blessed.
think there's also a lot to be said too about just like putting in the time, right? Like putting the reps in and getting out there. And the more you're out there, um, the more opportunities start to present themselves. I mean, I'm hunting the extended right now out here in Utah, and I've been just getting up in the morning, kind of like waiting for them as the sun comes up. They start, feeding and chasing the does up the mountain, and usually by 8:15, whatever's going to come up has kind of come and passed. And I mean, I've been up there almost every day. I didn't go the past 2 days because I just felt like I pressured them too much. Like I've got an area where I know that they come, and I've seen on average probably 3 to 7 bucks every day, but I could just never get into a position to take a shot on one. And then we've got, I don't know, probably a dozen to 2 dozen does that we'd see. And when I went up Saturday morning and just like nothing, my buddy did shoot a little buck up there. Dustin, who, he shot a little buck up there Thursday. And between that and everything else, I'm like, okay, I think we've just put a little bit too much pressure on them. And that's the other thing too, is like you can put too much pressure on them, even if they're running right now. But yeah, I missed on one that was like, there was one that I missed was probably comparable to this one. And when I saw him come up, like I had just seen these like little teeny guys, like little 3 point, 4 point, like little forkies. And I see this guy coming up and he's like 70 yards, like straight below me. And I'm up on this hill, and I had I'd been up there all morning. I'm like, I got to sit down for a minute. And right when I sit down, he comes walking up through this like little gorge, and I'm going, oh crap. So I'm like trying to like stay calm. Finally, he gets to me, and I range him when I ranged him, he was at 70, and I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. So like I reach over, like grab my bow, and right when I grab my bow and get it in front of me, he like turns and looks at me. So like I sit there for probably 2 minutes, like not moving. And I'm like, okay, well, he's just sitting there looking at me. I'm going to try and draw back on him because he's just standing there broadside to me. And so I draw back, and I've practiced shooting my bow at a lot of different angles, but I haven't practiced shooting it from laying down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I try and stand up, like he's gone. Anyway, like I draw back, and he's just still kind of like standing there, and he moved back maybe 5 yards, turned back to me broadside. And my adrenaline was going, because like to shoot something like that for like my first buck, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is going to be absolutely incredible. And just could not really get it lined up. And then the adrenaline kicked in. I got so excited, and I don't even know if I was looking through the peephole when I pulled the release.
Yeah.
But I watch it like fly through, and it goes about 6 inches under his belly, and then he blew out to like 95 yards and stopped. But I didn't. I mean, I'm not going to take a shot at 95 yards like downhill. But anyway, he ended up kind of like you said, like they don't typically like blow out. So he goes up, and I kind of just like hang tight, and finally I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to work my way down. And then there's 2 does start coming back up from above me, and he starts following them down. And at this point, they're like 110 yards. And I'm like, oh, they're going to come. And then, of course, the does like catch me and blow out, and he was gone. But yeah, I was like, when I saw that, I'm like, that's like, because I didn't have any video. Like didn't have my camera out. I was just sitting down for a minute. But yeah, shooting from a lane position on a hill is not very easy.
Yeah,
But
especially with that adrenaline stuff. Those are things
yeah.
like for the new hunter, man, like you could be so good at shooting your bow on a flat range and doing all the things, but when that adrenaline kicks in, that's when like those reps and that experience comes in. And you can't get that unless you go out and shoot stuff. It's
Well,
like,
and this was the first time I've actually let like an arrow fly at an animal. I mean,
yeah,
I've been out, I've been on them, but I've drawn back, but I've never let anything go. But man alive, yeah, the adrenaline, that was like, I mean, I think because I've been out for 5 years and I've yet to shoot anything, and like this was the closest that I've been to something with a tag in my pocket, and I'm like,
And a buck like that, man, that'll get you going.
oh yeah, and I'm sitting there going like, you got to be kidding me. But that's
Yeah.
twice. I need to quit saying that because I had the same thing. I had a bull come in my very first time I went out bow hunting, and he was just a stud, just big old guy. But he was in like scrub oak, and I didn't have a shot on vitals, but I had him at 30 yards, and I'm watching him go out, and I'm like, he's going to step in that opening. Like for whatever reason, like at that time, I was like super calm, but I had the same thought. I'm like, no way, this is going to be my first bull. And what I need to start thinking is be like, this is going to be my first buck. This is going to be my first bull. Because sure enough, whenever I'm like, there's no way this is going to be my first buck or bull, that tends to happen. So I guess what you put out into the universe is what tends to come back to it. But
yeah,
man,
that's what you mentioned, something about just being out. That's probably the biggest tip I'd ever give anybody, especially if they're just starting out, is just being out there. Like whether the conditions are unfavorable or the unit sucks or there's low success rates or whatever, you don't know what you're doing. Just being out there is how you learn. And just being out there is how I've killed like most of my animals. I mean, like that deer, it was like 65 degrees. This is a November day. So you're like thinking snow, migration, rut. It's like 65-degree day with sun and just a day you wouldn't think much is going to be moving or whatever. And I mean, I had the time off and everything, and I just got out there, and that's how I've killed a lot of the biggest things I've killed have just been on days that, don't look great on paper, but I killed them just because I was out there. Whether that's bad weather or good weather or whatever, you can't kill something if you're sitting at home on your couch.
No. Yeah. And like I said, I've had more opportunities this past 2 weeks that I've been out. My wife's like, you're getting up at 4:45. I've gotten to the point now where like my alarm doesn't even go off. I just wake up. I mean, it's nice because like you said, I mean, you're like, just local stuff. Like this is local for me. I'm like a 10-minute drive. Then I've got like a 30-40-minute hike up the mountain to get into my spot. And every time, like I know where I come up and I'm like, I see the does up on this ridge and and then the bucks start coming up and you kind of just learn the patterns. I mean, they change. You can pattern them to a certain extent. But like I said, I think I've put too much pressure on them. And then with us shooting one up there Thursday, I was just like, I need to give a little bit of time, but I'm coming down to like the wire here. I only have until the 30th to hunt my extended here in Utah. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. I mean, it is a sacrifice. I mean, the other thing too is like you go out there and you start hiking up like steep stuff. Like, when we were out chasing elk, my legs got in pretty good shape and I was able to just like push up hills and I was doing like way farther distances than what I was doing here. But, I've noticed now, like when I go up these 2 steep inclines where before I, stop and, have to take like a break every, 20, 30 yards. I was shocked when I went up Saturday. Like I climbed like the first ridge, like wasn't even sucking wind like I was 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, I didn't even stop. I just like pushed through. And so now what was taking me 30, 40 minutes is taking me 18 minutes to get up there. And it's fun to see like, your conditioning change. But the other thing is just, it's just time. It's just time and reps. Like I'm, flustered that I haven't shot anything, but I'm coming down to it. I'm going like, all right, well, I just want to get on the board. So it may be time to take a shot at a doe if that's all that I got left. And I'm not chasing antlers, but I started with the intent of shooting a buck. So I'd like to shoot a buck. I don't care if it's a spike. I don't care if it's, a little forky. I mean, if it is a freaking toad, great. But I haven't seen very many of those up there. But
that's another key thing for guys starting out is they see so much stuff on Instagram and they see like these guys like killing everything and they expect like that's what I need to kill, but they don't see like for me 19 years before this, man, I killed so many does and so many different things with my bow, just getting like those, again, I call them reps in the red zone. Like those are valuable reps of controlling that adrenaline, leveling your bubble, making sure to check all the boxes, the ranging, all the different things.
Remembering to look through your peep.
Yeah, that's a big one. So yeah, getting those reps, man, and not being too proud to like think like, hey, when I'm starting out, like, shoot, my first elk was a spike. My first deer was a barely legal 2x3, you know, it's a 3-point unit. Just not being too proud to shoot something and, you know, think that you have to kill something huge because, you know, whatever influencer you follow shoots something big online.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and for me, like I started this like hunting podcast a year ago, and I'm like, it's nice because I get to have guys on like yourself that have been doing it their entire life, that have a ton of experience. And I've learned so much through doing this podcast. But there is that little bit now of like imposter syndrome. So I'm like, I'm 2 years like since I started the podcast. I mean, I was doing the extended last year, couldn't get anything. And the weather conditions like this year, honestly, kind of freaking suck because we've had no snow to
Yep.
push any of the bigger. But when I saw that big one, it was the day after we had like it rained in the valley and there's some snow up in the mountains. But it's kind of, but anyway, it's frustrating because for me now, it's not that I want to post some trophy. I want to get on the board. And yeah, so the imposter syndrome, I'm like, I have people message me all the time. They're like, how do you get some of these guys on your podcast when you just started hunting 5 years ago? And it's funny because like I always message them back. I'm like, don't forget I haven't killed anything yet. But anyway, it's hard. It does kind of start to like play with your mind a little bit. You start like second guessing yourself, and you start making decisions like that one that I missed at 70 yards. I was set up. I had like great cover, had like wind down in this lower meadow where he came up, but I got impatient and like went to the upper meadow and started looking around. And, you know, I had seen some cows in that up, or not cows, but does. And I moved to where I could see him coming up. But had I just been patient and stayed in that lower meadow behind those trees, he would have come up and I'd have had a 20, 30-yard shot. I mean,
yeah, those are those
so,
like hindsight's always 20/20 on those, man.
But also like Dustin, the one that he shot, like we had been up there all morning. It's like 8:05. I'm like, bro, like I have to call that I have to go get on at 9:00. I'm like, I haven't seen anything down here. He had seen a couple doe, and he's like, well, I'm going to go check over on this other ridge back towards Centerville and see if I can find anything. I'm like, all right, I'll hang tight. Let me know what you see anything. And he texts me. He's like, I see 2 does. And then it was like 2 minutes later, he's like, holy crap. He's like, I killed a buck. And I'm like, bull crap. And I'm like, did you really? He's like, well, then he goes to, he's like, I can't find him. He's like, I swear I hit him. And anyway, he goes up. I'm like, well, can you see blood? He's like, there's no blood. And I'm like, he's like, I must just be like a crappy shot. And I'm like, I bet you hit him. I'm like, hang tight. Like, let me work up there. And so I start working my way up, and he texts me a couple minutes later, and he's like, I found him. He's like, I had to put another arrow in him, but he's down now. And like, that was like the first time I've been out with somebody hunting, and like we were able, like we quartered it, packed it up. I mean, it was a little guy, and he's like, man, I wish this thing was bigger. He's like, I thought it was the 4-point that I had seen a little bit earlier. But he's like, I don't know if I'd have shot him. And that's to your point. You get caught up in the gram and wanting to have that photo. But it's like, dude, we went out with the intent of shooting a buck. Like, you got the job done. Like, if somebody wants to like talk smack on them, like, screw them. I mean, it's your hunt. It's your tag. Like, do what you want to do with it. If it's to shoot like a little forky, shoot it. If it's to shoot a doe because you want the meat, like, shoot it. And that's the mentality that I've gotten to, where it's just like, okay, I am coming down to the wire, and they're starting to get scarce. So I just, what I told myself, like when I go back out this week, whatever opportunity I have, if I have a shot, I'm taking it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's one thing. I'm still guilty of it, man. Like last year I killed a bull the first morning I went out, and it was a little 6-point, and like a bull that I would shoot every year. Like if I call in a 6-point and speed one, and I'm shooting on a general over the counter tag. Well, I shot him and then like just sitting at home throughout September and not having a tag to go hunt. And then I'm scrolling Instagram and I'm seeing all these bigger bulls. I'm like, frick, maybe I should have held out. Like, I bet you there's bigger ones. And like I said, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still totally guilty of that. But in the time, like that bull made me so freaking happy and I was so pumped to shoot him. But you can lose sight of that as soon as you see a bigger bull or whatever on Instagram. So yeah, it's important to not get caught up in that, because that's not what it's about.
Well, and the other thing too is, like, let's just be honest. There's some guys that are out there that are either they're paying to go on to a really select unit, private property, or someone's giving it to them because they want the exposure. And I don't hate on those guys at all. Like, good for you. Like, the fact that you've gotten to the point that you've got somebody that, one, you've got the ability to either buy the tag, great, or two, like, someone wants you to come on their property for the exposure for themselves. I think that's awesome. So, like,
yeah,
no hate.
especially down in Utah. Down in Utah, that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because, like, if you come out here and you try and do the OTC stuff, which is like what I've done every year. I mean, I did draw out one unit down in Manti, but for a buck, and we were down there and I had a buddy and we were on bucks, like, leading up to it. We're like, okay, like, there's like any one of these things would be like a hat, like, be super grateful to take home. But then opening day comes and it's like they all sent the text message like, all right, well, we've screwed with these guys long enough, like, let's make ourselves scarce. And it went like nothing.
Yeah.
But it's fun and I love it. I mean, you get out there and I mean, like, I love the burn. Like, when you're cramping up, like, it sucks and it makes you not happy. But like, I've come home multiple times and I tell them I'm just like tired and beat up and flustered. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And then, like, the next morning comes and I'm awake and she's like, I thought you were done. And I'm like, yeah, well, like, it is like, it's a passion. Like, you go out there, it's like anything. It's like, you're like, hey, this sucks. Yeah. And the fact that you didn't achieve your goal is what sucks. And so you're like, screw it. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. But it's like, once you're able to get rehydrate a little bit, get some food in your belly and have a decent night's sleep, like, you wake up, it's like, all right, like, I'm going back out.
Something that's so special for me about hunting is that type 2 fun, man. There's been so many times where I'm like ready to give up, ready to quit, like when you're in the middle of it. And then something special happens, like that bull I killed this year. Like, yeah, the one you got on the screen. I was so ready to give up that morning. Like, I called that bull in the night before. We had a guy come in down below us, directly downwind of him, bumped him out. And then the next morning got him on again. And the guy filming me didn't know the bull and all of his cows were coming over. So he's like breaking branches and stuff. And they all come over and they bust out. And I was just like done. That was like day 14. But yeah, and that's when the most special things happen. And then called that bull into 35 yards after bumping him twice. So that's what makes it so special. Like, you're talking about how you kind of had to put in a ton of work and you haven't been successful yet. That moment you are successful, it's like the most over the top feeling, just because of all that hard work you put in and all the, grief you felt by not being successful. And then you finally get it done.
Well, and I feel like I'm feeling the frustration way more this year because, like, honestly, like, when I've gone out like the previous 4 years, I mean, it's like a couple weekends. Like, it's all that I could do. Like, I liked it. I went out there. I had that first experience. I was sharing you with that bull when he just came in like a freight train, breaking branches and that. And that was what hooked me. I'm like, this is amazing. So I've only had like 2 bulls close enough. That Manti unit that I was in was the other one. I've shared this on a couple other episodes, but this young bull comes blowing over this ridge. And for me, if I would have had like a bull tag, like, well, one, he probably wouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah.
But I watched him come down. I'm like, he's coming right to me. And I'm sitting there and I grab my phone and I like grab my rangefinder and I hit this tree where I think he's going to come out. And sure enough, he comes out. He's like 30 yards. I'm kind of tucked in behind some bushes and stuff. And I'm like, he doesn't even see me. And like I could have shot him like 10 times anyway. He comes up and he's like, his tongue's just wagging. And I felt bad. I'm like, he's going to win me at some point. But he comes up 10 feet, looks up, and I've got my phone recording him and kind of stand up. And he kind of looks at me. And you could just kind of tell he was like, son of a. And then he turns and now he has to go run out of the canyon again. But you have those experiences like where you see those. And my buddy who hunts up there all the time and he guides up there, he's like, I wouldn't have let you shoot him. And I'm like, bro, I would have shot that thing. And he's like, not for that unit. He's like, we would have got you something better. And I'm like, Tyson, I'm telling you, like, I would have shot that thing. And he's like, that's just like a young one. I mean, it was a decent bull. Like if you were on an OTC unit, but you see some like this thing. I mean, like this one that you took here, dude, thing is a giant. I mean,
yeah.
So, okay, I ramble sometimes and I apologize. Let's circle back real quick. Let me just finish my thought and then I want to come back to this bull. So you have those experiences that just like pull you back in. And this year for me, I'll finish that thought. Why it's been so frustrating is because like I have by far, like I've put in like weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, I probably spent a total of like a month out hunting, you know, and it may just be going out on the weekends, but you know, like I said, the past 2 weeks, it's like I get up at 5 a.m., head up the hill. I've been up there probably, I don't know, 10, 11 times now. And the frustrating part is like, one, yeah, I've seen them. I haven't really had anything. I mean, I could have shot probably like a dozen does, but that's not what I was up there for. And the fact that you've got bucks up there, I'm like, well, I'm just going to wait till an opportunity presents itself. But you start second guessing everything that you're trying to do and everything that you've gone up there, and you get desperate and you make stupid things. And that's been my biggest frustration for me is like I have a hard time just like staying put. It's like the time, I mean, it wears on me. Like I didn't grow up hunting, so I'm not used to going and being like, okay, we're just going to hang out here for a couple hours. And honestly, had I had the time on these up where I was at, I probably could have just like sat there longer and had opportunities and probably could have tagged out. But you know, like you, like I've got a full-time job. Like I got to come back down and get to work. Like I don't live off this podcast.
Yeah.
Like I do this because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I get to, you know, meet people, and I've made some absolutely amazing, you know, friends from this podcast and acquaintances and people that are just like, they're checking in on me, and you get the messages on Instagram when they see me out, like I'm posting I'm out. Like I pulled out Chat GPT, like, I don't know, like last week when I was going up there, I'm like, I could legally hunt August 15th, 2020. I'm like, how many days has it been to today? And so I'm going to stay 1,922 of not shooting a big game animal with my bow. But the messages and the support that comes in, it's like, you know, there's guys that just, it means a lot, you know, when you're up there and it's cold now. Like it's starting to get cold, and I'm just like, please, like dump even in the mountains. If you don't want to dump in the valley, fine, but dump in the mountains and try and push some of these bucks down. But anyway, again, I said I'd be quick and wrap up my thought, and then I went on for like 10 minutes rambling. So this bull, you guys were up there. Your buddy who was recording it for you starts breaking some branches, blows them out. You're flustered. You're ready to quit, but you go back out. Walk me through how this thing unfolded for you to be able to get this guy down.
Yeah. Actually, my buddy spotted this with his naked eye about a mile away. Super crazy thing. Like we're glassing this big basin, and he turns around, looks behind us. He's like, that kind of looks like an elk out there, like blonde on this open thing. And we're like, I put it in the spotter, and sure enough, it's that bull raking some aspens. And this is a super heavily pressured unit. And we're glassing from a road. So we kind of get on them. We're trying to make a game plan, and we have another guy come up the road, and he spots them too right next to us. And so we're like, oh, crap, now we're going to be competing. So we go in, we make a play, and it was a really good play. That's a tough thing about public land, man, is you can make what is, the perfect play on an animal, and somebody can come in and screw it up at any time. And so there's so many variables that go into it, the wind, the other people hunting, all the things. So we make a play on this bull. We sneak in, get about 100 yards from him, and he's right on the edge of these aspens in this open area. The only way we could come in was from the side because you couldn't see him from the top, and if we came from the bottom, he'd wind us. So I bugle, and we're kind of going back and forth, and he won't commit like through there's like a thick patch of aspens between us. He won't come through it. So I was like, it'd be totally fine. We had 2 hours of daylight left, so I was like, I'll swing around above him and then get around on my backside, and if he goes either direction, I'll be able to get a shot at him. So I just went quiet and snuck around on him. And about that time, we had this guy come in straight underneath him with the thermals blowing right to the bull and blew him out. And so that was such a huge bummer because it's a perfect opportunity, like to have a bull in the open like that. He only had one cow, which is pretty rare. Is a really good opportunity to kill him. And with elk, I always say if they see you, it's not that big of a deal, but if they smell you, it's a big deal. They'll go for a long ways. So I wasn't too gung-ho to go back up and chase them because, they went like 3 miles that night. But I had left my spotting scope up there. So I was like, well, let's go back up there in the morning. We'll see if we can relocate him, just see if we get lucky. So me, my buddy, and my other buddy that was filming me, we go back up and we hike in. It's probably like a mile and a half in there. We get to where they were the night before. We're on this ridge line. Where they were the night before is just off the ridge. And I was like, I'll bugle once and just make sure that they didn't come back here for some reason. So I bugled, and that thing cut me off, and he was less than 100 yards away. And so, we kind of panic and scramble. We're on this open ridge. It's all sage. I get out. I get some cover. I get in front of this tree, and my one buddy is like kind of behind the tree that I'm in front of, and then my other buddy that's filming is trying to get a spot where he can see everything that I'm seeing, but it has some cover. And so he's breaking some branches to get him out of the way of the view of the camera. And at that time, all these cows just start popping over the ridge and in the bull. And so they spook. He runs. He finally stops, but he was 136 yards, so no shot. And so I'm just like frustrated, man. Like, I've solo hunted most of my career, especially elk hunting. I've solo hunted, and so that was just one of those moments that I was like, gosh, dang, if I was by myself, like this thing would be dead. All this dumb, like I don't do I started a Harum Hunt Code just as like a fun thing. I'm not doing it to make money or anything, but I think the videos are cool. And so I'm like, but I'm not used to that extra factor of having the camera and having all the things that come with that. So I was just super frustrated. And they take off running. They go down in the basin where they went the night before. So I think they're like long gone. So we hike up there, and I was like, well, we'll just see where they go, see what happens. And they went about 2 miles, and they hung up in this like north-facing timber patch. And I was thinking they're just going to keep going and going, right? Like they'd been busted by a guy the night before. And then they see us. And the weird thing was, he only had one cow the night before, but now he had like 20. So like, there's no way they're hanging around. Like he's going to round up all those cows and go to a different spot. But they didn't. They just hung up in that timber. So I was like, well, it's super unlikely, but let's go down and we'll try to make another play on them. There's no way I'm calling him in again, right? Like the second time that he's been called in and bumped. So I'm just going to have to sneak in on him and get lucky. And so we did. We bombed down about 2 miles on the backside of this ridge and snuck around in this timber they're in. And I dropped everything and just crept in on this trail under the timber, and I left my one buddy on top to kind of spot and let us know if they moved. But our texts were super delayed through your satellite, like through inReach. And so that wasn't really working. So I'm just kind of creeping in there, and I'm like, man, they should be right here somewhere. Like I should be right in the middle of them. And about that time, I spot just a cow's ear at 40 yards, and she's looking my direction. And they kind of just keep feeding. So I sneak in, and I'm like, 40 to 60 yards from the herd of cows, but I can't see the bull. Well, as I'm sneaking, there's 2 grouse that start getting flustered. And so I'm like, oh, crap. Like, if this is what busts these elk, I'm going to be so pissed. But, and sure enough, those grouse take off, and those 3 cows that are on, like, the closest cows to me, they take off running. And so I was like, this is now or never. Like, these elk are spooking. So I ripped a cow calling bull's bugle. Some people call it a lip ball, and basically what it is, just a cow or a bull trying to wrangle in his cows, thinking that it would make the bull think like it's another bull in here chasing his cows, and that's why they spooked. So I did that, and that bull instantly snapped back, fired back, and started coming up the ridge. And yeah, I called him into 35 yards and was able to put a good shot on him, and he went about 100 yards and tipped over dead.
Congrats, man. That's such a cool story. So
But,
were you by yourself at this point on the second?
I had
still have people with you.
Yeah, I had my camera guy about 30 yards behind me, on the edge of the timber. I told him to just try to get what he could get. There's no way that both of us were going to be able to sneak in there together. And then I had my other buddy was like a mile or so away, trying to glass into where we were going to keep tabs on them.
Yeah.
And to your point, like, to add on to that, earlier in the year, so I killed that bull, I think on the 14th or something like that. On the 9th, I missed the bull twice. And that's something that I don't take lightly, because I like I said, I obsess over this crap all year long. And I spend so much time in the dialing in my equipment and shooting and being proficient. Well, I didn't know it, but that day I'd broken my sight, like where my sight slides up and down, the plastic had broke. And so I missed this bull twice at 45 yards, and I'm just like, what the heck? And I looked down, my sight's broken. That was just a dream crusher for me, just to spend so much time dialing all your stuff, and then to have it go haywire like that on an opportunity. Like a 6-point bull elk on public land is super hard to come by. And so that's why I say, like, after the second time spooking that bull, I was ready to give up. And yeah, and then missing a bull twice on the 9th, like, it was starting to seem like one of those years where I'm just like, holy crap, man, it's just not going my way. But that's where that delayed gratification comes in. And if you just keep working and keep going and keep going and keep going, and it works out, it's like, it's so dang cool when it does. And that's what keeps you coming back, at least for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And that is great advice. You get up there and you start going through the woods. Maybe I should check my my scope or my sight. Maybe that's why I missed. Maybe I got something broken on there.
Yeah.
No, I doubt that. No, I've come back down and shot it since, and I'm like, it is crazy, because I mean, since I bought this bow, I bet you I've probably taken over 10,000 shots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the first 4 years, I mean, I would go and shoot it every day. Sometimes it would be 3 shots. Most days I'm taking like 30 to 50 shots, and multiple ranges and different angles, like kneeling down, like I'll stand up on my truck bed, and if it's windy, like I'll go out and shoot. Because I mean, that's the thing, is like when you're out hunting in the wilderness, like rarely is it perfect conditions to where they're like straight out in front of you, broadside, with no wind. So yeah, I mean, I've put in the reps, and I feel really confident that I can shoot something. I just think, like, I just had a total meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a weird angle. I probably should have just like waited. And he would have he wasn't blowing out, But you look back and you try and replay things in your mind, and it's like, I have this opportunity, and I rushed it. I rushed it. I didn't have a good sight, like through the peephole, through anything, and I just should have waited, and he could have started walking, turned away, given myself an opportunity to try and stand up. But I was kind of exposed. I mean, I had the trees behind me, but I was just like right on the ledge, and you know, he didn't spook. And that's where I think experience comes. It's like, yeah, you want to draw back and shoot on something, but give yourself, like, I would have felt comfortable taking a shot at 80 yards on him, if I was standing up,
Mm-hmm.
and if I could have gotten to that position. But hindsight's always 2020, but that's why you do it. You go out there and you learn. And I have to just remind myself that I'm new to this. I mean, that's the first time I've let an arrow fly at an animal. I was close. Like I said, I went about 6 inches under his belly. But I mean, I'm giving myself opportunity experience out there, but like, it's way different now when you're like drawn back and getting ready to loose an arrow on an animal.
And that's where, like, you have no idea how valuable that experience will be the rest of your time hunting. Like, every single thing I've learned, for the most part, has been through failure. Like that. I said I spooked those 2 cows, and then I did a bull call in Cowsby. Like, I learned that by messing things up. I learned that works by spooking elk and by doing, things not going right. And that's, for the most part, man, you got to fail to learn. And especially with elk and deer and archery hunting in general, on over the counter hunts, like, it takes failure to learn things and to grow. And you can't do that unless you spend time out in the woods. And for me, I've been super fortunate to spend a lot of time out in the woods over the years and learn those things and fail and come back and try it again and again and again. But yeah, man, like, it sucks when you're in the moment, but that's how you learn to make those. Like, if you have that same opportunity again, I'm sure this time you're going to be more prepared than you were last time. Like, you're going to know, maybe a little bit better what you should and shouldn't do versus, this time, it's your first experience. You're kind of just winging it and doing what you think's right.
Oh, I'm 100% winging it. Like, I try and go back and like replay like the advice and stuff that's been given, but when you get in the moment and that adrenaline kicks in, it's just like shoot, ready, aim.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like the mindset that I was like, okay, you need to just relax, compose yourself, because if you want to get an animal down, like, you know what you have to do, but it just, like you said, it just comes with the experience out there, and you learn. And
It's like anything in life, man. You're not born a professional. It takes reps.
Yeah, 100%. Dalton, man, hey, man, I appreciate your time. As we wrap up, one of the things that you said at the beginning is you kind of geek out on the gear and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what's your like most unique or favorite piece of equipment that you always want to take with you when you go out into the field? Let me spring that one on you.
My most unique piece of equipment. Well, whatever weapon I'm taking is always my priority, right? I spend a ton of time on that, and I nerd out on that a lot. Other than that, I would say it's got to be. This isn't like a crazy one or anything, but hunting is such a mind game, and I think you're starting to figure that out now. Like, if you're not right in the mental space of like being down on yourself, it's hard to keep going and keep putting in time. And for me now, having a family and a kid and everything, some sort of communication where I can, when I'm up in the woods by myself and you don't have service, to be able to text my wife and, ask how my son's doing is huge for me, and that keeps me going. I would say that's probably one of the biggest things for me, is some sort of communication, or just anything to bring you back. Like, a movie downloaded on your phone can lift your spirits up, or, a book downloaded on your phone, a podcast, whatever it may be, just to keep that mental space right. Cause that's the biggest thing, especially when you're hunting by yourself. Soon as you lose that mindset of, wanting to get out there, wanting to grind, wanting to do that stuff, it's really tough to be successful. I think that's where 90% of people quit, man, is when you start losing that mindset.
Yeah, dude. This is funny. I think that's good advice. Like I've been up there in those mornings sitting there, like I kept moving too much. And I've learned to sit. So I had downloaded the Last of the Mohicans soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so I'm up there just like I'm like, okay, I'm getting my mind right. So once I got up there and got into position, like I just threw in one of my headphones and just sat there and listened to that. And it was kind of fun. Like it's interesting the thoughts that go through your mind when you're up there and you're listening. For me, I mean, listening to something like that, I'm like, dude, these guys were badasses back in the day. I mean, I
Yeah, it's
get that
funny,
Last
man.
Mohican is a movie, but like there were people that lived like that. Like there's a reason that they have those movies, and I think that's part of like the allure to the hunting space. And that is you get to go out there and you kind of go like tribal, especially, I mean, all I'm doing is bow hunting, and it's like, it's hard.
Yeah, it's
It's
wild, man.
hard.
Yeah,
But
that's it's funny, man. It's different for everybody. Like you said, like I would never think of that, but it's the weird things like that keep you going when you need it the most. And that's when, I mean, it's impossible to be successful if you're out of it mentally. You got to stay in it. You got to keep that positive mental attitude, and that's how you get stuff done. And
yeah,
that's super difficult, especially like you're saying, you're winding down to the end of your season. You've been putting all this time and effort and resources and making these sacrifices, and it's just like, man, why is this not happening? Keeping that positive mental attitude is the only way to keep going. And sometimes that takes, listening to the Last of the Mohicans, whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. No. Okay, last question that I have for you on equipment. What's the most overrated piece of hunting equipment that you would say that there is?
uh, for me, it'd be clothing, probably. Uh, Again, I nerd out on everything, but uh, yeah, clothing gets so overhyped, and all these, you got to have this camo pattern, you got to keep up with the Sitka or the Kuyu or the this, that, and the other thing. And the reality of it is, like, yes, clothing is super important, and it's important to stay dialed on that, but you don't need the name brand crap to be successful. I think that's what a lot of new guys get hung up on, is like, oh, I need the Swarovskis, I need the Matthews bow, I need the Sitka gear, or else I can't kill anything. And that's not true, man. Like, I'm a big fan of those old timers with their lever action 30-30s and red flannel and some blue jeans on. Like,
Heck yeah.
those guys killed some big stuff, and as long as you're warm and you're dry, that's all that's important. It doesn't matter what logo's on the front of your clothing.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's kind of been the consensus whenever I drop that. It's like camo. Camo
Yeah.
seems to be the one that gets the most shade. I think there's like a time and place for it. I mean, especially like when it comes to bow hunting, I think that there can be the benefits because you have to get so close to these animals. And I was wearing my camo up there, and I've got a bunch of solid stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I start playing like mind tricks. That's branding, right? That's marketing. That's what they've done. They've got everybody convinced that you have to have like the newest,
Yeah.
they're always releasing some new like iteration, which is like the newest, bestest material that's going to keep you warmer and quieter, and they won't be able to smell you. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like half the time, it's like when I'm going up that mountain, I'm like me sucking wind. I'm like, there's no, like, it doesn't matter. It's dark. It's pitch black. They hear me coming.
Yeah.
Like they know I'm like sucking wind. It's like I saw the meme where it's like me trying to sneak in on an elk, and it's like the wheezing, like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's another thing with clothing. Like, people get hung up on the scent control thing all the time, and it's like, man, that's all fine and dandy, maybe for like a Midwest whitetail guy or something, keeping his clothes locked up. But as soon as you start hiking up that hill and you start sweating and stuff, like, the only thing that matters is that the wind direction is right. Like, your clothing is not going to save you. And like I said, I nerd out on the camo and everything. I got a bunch of it over there at my locker. But like this year, I got this new pair of like Stone Glacier pants, and I was wearing a Sitka shirt, and I killed a buck 2 days in, and then I'm a little bit superstitious. I ended up rocking that same dang pair of pants the entire season, and I've got all this gear over here, and I didn't wear any of it. And
Dude,
it's
it's funny that you say that, because when I saw that big buck that I missed, like every day that I've been out since, like I've worn the exact same thing.
yeah. I mean, it's just the
I
mind
should
games.
probably have changed because I missed him, but I'm like, but I saw him and I was wearing this, so I have to wear this back out again because that's what I saw it in.
That's exactly how my mind works too, man. Like it's funny, but yeah, that's what I say. I think it's the clothing is the biggest overhyped thing, and as long as you're comfortable and you're warm and you're dry, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I did. My hands got cold. Like
Yeah.
I got really cold the past couple times, and it got hard to like keep a hold. So then I did some like thinner gloves to wear up there last time, and even then it got cold, and so I broke out my my outdoor reach, like super warm gloves, and I wore that on the way up there, and I just kept those on until it started, I've kind of got like the time patterns when you start seeing something. And so I kept those on to keep my hands nice and toasty. And then, when it got closer to shooting time, then I slipped into my lighter, thinner gloves, and it helped being able to, hold the bow and keep all that. But it's wild, man. There's so much that goes into this, and there's so many different things. Like you said, like you can go down a million different rabbit holes on what to wear, what not to wear, what to use. But at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, like I've got to go. I went through so much wind checker this past 2 weeks. Like I've had like the same tube that I've been using since I started hunting. I say tube, like the little thing.
Yep.
But I'm like, okay, I got to go get some more. That's the like the number one thing for somebody that's new is like if you're not downwind from where they're coming from, you're toast and you're never gonna get an opportunity. So
Yeah,
anyway.
I think that's one of the most, I don't know if it's underrated, but I think that is one of the most important pieces of equipment that anybody could ever bring on an archery hunt is a bottle of wind checker.
Well, and I credit my use of that this year to being able to like find the animals, because like it's crazy, like wind will change. Like when I was up there earlier, I was in a great spot and the wind was favorable, and all of a sudden like I felt like this little shift, and I'm like, pull it out, check it, and I'm like, sure enough, like it shifted. So I moved, and it was a smart move because that's where we started. It would have blown right down over the ridge to where these does were at. And like I said, I've had opportunities, I've seen them. I just haven't had any really decent shots to take. But it's just those things like learning. And then, here's the other stupid thing is like, I'm like, okay, I'd got to move. And you kind of forget. It's like, well, I just got to get out of here. And you're noisy and you want to take like the shortest route to get to a new position. And so now it's like, I take my time, like I back up super close, and using that wind stuff, the other one, like this ridge, I couldn't see it, but there were doe and buck over there. And I was able to like, I was on my hands and knees, like crawling up, and I had, 2 does at like 15 yards. They looked up at me. I didn't move. I waited for them to kind of like relax and go back down to feeding. And then I like slowly backed up and went like a long way around, and they didn't blow out. They were still there. So I'm learning. I mean, I know it's going to happen. I really hope that it happens this year because my extended bull tag, we've had no snow, and where the only places that I know of where I can get on bulls in the extended, if we don't get a snowstorm between now and December 15th, like I'm going to have zero opportunity to get on them because I've talked to buddies that have gone up there and they're like, there's no activity. There's nothing. So if we don't get a snowstorm, I'm kind of feel like, getting a mule deer is one of my last ditch effort chances that I'm going to have to be able to get something done. So I'm kind of putting it all on this one. So
Well, I wish you the best of luck, man. I'll be watching to see if you kill something. I'll be rooting for you. I'm jealous, man. I wish I could still be out there hunting. I'm done for the year. So, yeah.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll send you a picture of my doe when I shoot her.
Heck yeah, dude. That's nothing to be ashamed of. I've shot many does.
Yep. Dalton, man, hey, I really appreciate it. If people want to find you on Instagram, what should they look for?
Yeah, it's just at Dalton J Harum, and then I have the at Harum Hunt Co as well. They're both kind of linked together. I sure, I'll be coming out with some YouTube stuff this winter, just from the hunts that I was on this year on the Harum Hunt Co side. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I put a link in the codes. Guys, head on over, give Dalton a follow. Great dude. He's got a lot of good information and just total killer. So Dalton, I really appreciate it. You guys, thank you for listening to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. We are the fastest growing hunting podcast in the United States. Everyone stay safe and God bless.